civilized tribes, forcing them to accept allotments and register on the dog roll. Now, here's the key thing. It's saying to accept allotments. What does that mean?
To accept reservations, I think.
Absolutely. See, so they was moving to put $5 Indians on reservations using this system. Mm-hmm. Okay, let's say the 2 acts which came, scroll down, during the period of murky social context. See what that say?
Mm-hmm. Murky social context. These niggas be wearing some shit, man.
Right. Now,
not clear. I mean, it's not clear. It's not a clear,
right,
decisive, you know.
All right, now look. This is where the murky social context come in. After the Civil War, where white and so-called black men were intermarrying with Native American women, aimed to help the government keep track of real Indians, while accelerating efforts to assimilate Indian people into so-called white culture. Mm-hmm. Right? So this is what murkied the waters. The 1 drop of blood doctrine, the great melding pot. Everybody giving up a drop of blood, and then they all coming together to try to confuse the genetics. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. All right, let's keep going. We ain't done. By 1865, African Americans and white Americans were moving into the Midwest, into the Indian and Oklahoma territories, all vying for some patch of land that they could call their own and live out their Jeffersonian view of independence. Mm-hmm. All right. Mm-hmm. Scroll down. Let's see what's read some more. Yes. He said the federal government poured a lot of effort and energy into the Dawes Commission, but at the same time, it was very hard for both Native and American governments to keep track of who was who. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. All right. Now, this is important when we get to the Trail of Tears.
Okay. Okay.
The Dawes Commission set up tents in Indian territory. They told us that we lived in teepees.
Yeah. Get the hell out of here with that shit. Go ahead.
Look, go back to Google for a minute. Okay. We're going to come back to this page, but we're going to go to Google and type in Huns tents. HUN_S tents. And then go to images. Okay.
They look like these right here, though. They look like these right here, I know. Kind of like these.
Those modern tents.
Yeah, but they're like the old ones. Put
in ancient in front of it.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Let me do it like that. So there you go, right here. Like this kind. Right here. Mm-hmm. The richer guys had like a more of a nice one though, but like the kings and shit. Mm-hmm. But it's the same thing as those.
We didn't live in tents, but I'm gonna show you that in a minute. But first, we're looking at these tents. Now, take out Hun and put in Mongol.
All right. All right, it's the Mongol. Let me say these in my that photo. Damn. Mm-hmm.
That one you clicked on have a Sri Yantra on the front.
Because I'm putting a book together called Young Elder and the Royal Haynes book. I'm going into more detail on it.
Hey, look, you know what's out cold? Motherfuckers be talking about, I remember a lot of stuff. All this shit come from Babu, Elijah Muhammad, Noble Drew Ali, and the government.
Yeah. Yeah. This is a good one right here. And the same people was building those igloos. Those igloos.
Yeah, but they also got teepees. Mm-hmm. They also got nomadic tents that they carried around with them that wasn't so big. Mm-hmm. And those are the ones that they said was our teepees. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. And it was only for traveling, right? For these people that traveled when they were traveling, mm-hmm. going to battle people.
Right. Because all of the Huns and the Mongols were nomads. They was always on the go. They didn't set up farming camps.
They call it a jir, also called yura. Is a mongoloid yurk. Is a mongoloid tent home. Imagine living in a home that looked like a piece of candy. A Hershey's Kiss. But it's 9 feet height, 15 feet round. Actually, a jir might look rather odd, but they were very comfortable. So it's the mongoloid. Let me blow it.
So they can fold their house up and go leave at any given time. All right, let's get back to the business at hand. We can go back to that later on. We're gonna pull up a TP from over there, in Asian TP.
Okay.
All right, so the Dawes Commission set up tents in Indian territory. Right, this is somebody named Bill Welch, Director Emeritus of the Oklahoma Historical Society Office of American Indian Culture and Preservation.
Damn, hold up. I don't want to freeze up while we're doing it. Hold up. There you go. My bad. There you go.
Okay. It's their field clerks scoured written records. Scroll down. Okay. Took oral testimony. Remember, we do everything orally anyway.
Yeah.
And generated enrollment cards for individuals determined to have Indian blood. Now, remember, they didn't have blood tests back then.
Yeah.
How the fuck they know who got Indian blood?
Right.
You gotta keep that in mind because they make it sound like they can just run a blood test like they can now, pull your DNA and say, oh, you Chickasaw, you Choctaw, you Cherokee, you Ojibwe, right? They couldn't do that back then. So look what they're doing. They took oral testimony and scoured written record.
Yeah.
Right? All right, now, that's good. That included authentic Indians. How do they know they're authentic?
They're right. Yeah.
They declaring them authentic under the Dawes Roll.
Mm-hmm.
But it also included lots of people with questionable heritage.
Mm-hmm.
And you see it, and they already know this shit that I'm telling y'all. So it's not a secret. Commissioners took advantage of their positions and enrolled people who had very minimal or questionable connections to the tribes. They were not adverse to taking money under the table. What you say?
What you say?
What you say? They can't be doing that. Look at this eight. Index to final roles of citizens and freed men of the 5 civilized tribes in Indian territory, prepared by the Commission and Commissioner. Biggie Smalls, the Commission. American Indian Removal Policy and the Trail of Tears. Now we're getting good. Andrew Jackson policy led to a shameful episode in U.S. history. And this is who we talking about.
The nigga on a $20 bill. That's why I don't like 20s, man. That's why I don't like 20s right there. I don't like 20s.
Well, I spend the shit out the motherfuckers. I don't plan on putting none of them in no frame, no way.
Right.
All right, now look. The American Indian Removal Policy of President Andrew Jackson was prompted by the desire of so-called white settlers in the South to expand into lands belonging to the 5 indigenous tribes. After Jackson succeeded in pushing the Indian Removal Act through Congress in 1830, the U.S. government spent nearly 30 years forcing indigenous people to move westward beyond the Mississippi River. This is the Trail of Tears.
Exactly. That's what we're talking about.
But that's going to come back up because that's part of the biblical contract.
Mm-hmm.
In the most notorious example of this policy, more than 15,000 members of the Cherokee tribes were forced to walk from their homes in southern states to a designated territory in present-day Oklahoma in 1838. Now, this is before the Dawes Roll.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Damn.
Many died along the way. The forced relocation became known as the Trail of Tears because of the great hardship faced by Cherokees. In brutal conditions, nearly 4,000 Cherokee died on the Trail of Tears.
Mm-hmm.
Go back up and look how long this took place. Look how long this was going on. Go back up.
Go back right here.
Right there. They spent nearly 30 years forcing indigenous people to move westward beyond the Mississippi.
Man.
Right? Now, where do this happen? Somewhere in the Bible. Don't this happen somewhere in the Bible? Somebody was traveling around for 30, 40 years because they ain't had no homeland.
The Israelites.
Where was they coming from?
They were coming from ancient Kemet.
Mm-hmm. Who was they following?
Who they followed? Moses.
Okay, and Elijah Muhammad said Moses did what?
Go ahead. I can't remember.
Elijah Muhammad said Moses was the one that was sent to civilize the so-called pale man.
Yeah, okay, yeah, to put the boat. Yeah, go ahead. Okay, I'm with you.
Remember, he said Moses had to sleep in the ring of fire because they were so savage they might eat him in his sleep.
Right. Go ahead. That's right.
Right? Yeah. Now, in here is 30 years. The biblical stories say 40 years.
Okay.
So it's a 40-year sojourn.
Okay.
Right? So this 30 years take us to 1860. 40 years take us to 1870. About 12 years before the Dawes Act.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So from 1830 to the Dawes Roll, okay, go over to Google and pull Dawes Roll up again. We got to get the exact year again.
I got you. We hitting it. Man, this is sticky. Man, bro.
What you pulling up? I can't see that.
I'm pulling up the Dawes Roll, but it like my shit was sticking. Don't let me type in. There you go, right here. It's the year is 1898. Hold up. Hold on, let me go back. Just find out. Okay. The Dawes Roll, also known as the Final Roll, are listed individuals who accepted eligible tribe membership in the 5 indigenous tribes: Cherokee, Creek, Choctaw, Chickasaw, and Seminole. It does not include those whose application was stricken, rejected, or judged to be doubtful. Probably some dark-skinned people, right? Real Indians tried to find, they got shot down, right? Those found eligible for the Final Roll were entitled to we just had read that, right? Allotments of land, usually as a homestead.
Mm-hmm.
The roll contained more than 101,000 names from 1898 to 1914, primarily from 18.
Okay, we just looking for the year right now, Elder. The year that it was passed again. So you go back to the main page. The year shouldn't be hard to find. It should be right there.
Okay, right here. Okay, I got it. Hold up. I got you. It's the year is 1893.
Okay, so from 1830 to 1893, that's further than 40 years of sojourn waiting to have a reservation.
Yeah.
Right, actually 63 years, ain't
it? Yeah. It says from 1893 all the way up into it's a long time. Hold up.
I thought it was first passed in the 1880s.
Hold up, let me make sure this right here is right. It says right here 1893. So hold up. What year? Okay. 1887 is the date.
Okay. Now that's more closer to the date I was thinking.
All right. The 1880.
So that's 47 years still though. That's the 40-year sojourn of the so-called Israelites.
Yeah.
Now now remember, while this is going on, the Indian Removal Act, right? They marching across the land, but they're supposed to be coming from the South.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody that know basic American history know that the South was about 90% melanated us.
Mm-hmm.
So where did these pale people come from in the South?
Exactly.
They couldn't have been there. So we're going to go to where they come from in the next one. We just reviewing Dawes Roll now. Right? So scroll down. Let's read some more. There have been conflicts between whites and indigenous people since the first so-called white settlers arrived in North America, but in the early 1800s, The issue had come down to the so-called white settlers encroaching on the indigenous lands in the southern United States. Now, here go the problem. Go back to Martin Luther King, talking about the mechanizing of the farms. Right? Now, he's telling you what was going on during this period right here. This is the period of time he's talking about when they began to mechanize the farms, and they hired us to teach the so-called settlers how to farm the land. All of the indigenous people know that we had to teach the people that came to the land how to farm, because none of them knew how to work the unique land that was over here better than we did. Right? Now, 5 indigenous tribes were located on land. Notice they specify on land that would be highly sought for settlement. Especially as was prime land for the cultivation of cotton. The tribes on the land were the Cherokee, Choctaw, Chickasaw, Creek, and Seminole. Right? Over time, the tribes in the South tended to adopt the so-called white ways, such as taking up farming in the tradition of white settlers, which they didn't. We taught them how to farm. This is a known historical fact that all of us know without even asking who taught the so-called pale people how to farm. Remember the Mayflower came, they was dying of starvation because they didn't know how to cultivate food.
That's right.
Right? So in some cases, even buying and owning enslaved black people. They got to throw that in there, right?
They had to put that out for now.
I like that right there.
15.
Okay, in fact, settlers hungry for land were actually dismayed to see these tribes, contrary to all the grotesque propaganda about them being savages, adopted the farming practices of white Americans.
Yeah,
this don't even make sense. This is not even possible.
Yeah, right.
Right? But this is the story, the narrative they're giving us. So we're going to work with it. The accelerated desire to relocate indigenous people to the West was a consequence of the election of Andrew Jackson in 1828. Jackson had a long, complicated history with indigenous tribes, having grown up in frontier settlements where stories of attacks by them were common. Right? Now, before we go any further, so the question on Haile Selassie and the relation to Enlil. Right? Now, remember Baba did that scroll called Is Haile Selassie the Christ?
Yeah.
And you remember he went through his whole genealogy in here, and he went back like a long way back.
Yeah.
Right? So why did Pops do that?
Go ahead.
You got to know Haile Selassie.
Okay. Yeah, that's right.
If he want us, the children of Enlil.
Yeah.
Right? They looking for a homeland on earth. We ain't giving them shit. But now I'm finna touch on the Empire State. Empire State. Got a movie called King Kong. In the movie King Kong ends up taking this white lady to the top of the Empire State Building. What is the Empire, and why is New York the Empire State. Well, you will never know why New York is the Empire State unless you know where Old York is. Old York is called Yorkshire, England. Now, that's ran by a royal family. Look at the family crest, and for some strange reason, you got people that look like us on there. Think about that while I take this sip. On the crest for the European royal families, they look like us. But they ain't us. Because if they was us, we would have knew. You see? Because we would have had a historical record of it being us. That ain't us. That's some imposters. So what did they do? Now I told y'all they used the European, the minority group, to attack the larger groups, to perpetuate the divide and conquer. So as soon as we figure it out, we can go haywire and start killing white people. And the race war is the illusion. The race war that they want to start is the illusion. That's the way for them to get us fighting each other so they can get right back in power and sit behind the scenes. Now you got to remember, we are in what they call the Kali Yuga state. We're coming out of that now. That's what you call the phase of the hidden gods. These watered down fake gods went to South Africa so that they could try to make it look like a slave trade. There was never a slave trade. It's what you're not understanding. We invited those pale-skinned Europeans over here to get a drop of blood so that they can earn the right to ascend through the great melding pot process, the same as we did for China, Japan, and various other parts of the world when they did it to them. So now here we go again. They want to try to pit us against the European under the false pretenses of police shooting us in the back, killing these kids. And they actually killing people that's unawares of who and what they are. Only certain people are allowed to kill certain people. Because y'all don't understand that, because that's a higher law. In the lower realms, when your vibration is low and you are in a slumber state, you can't quite see everything clearly. And so you start to become confused, and then they have turn you on your own because they can't just kill us like that. If we stop killing each other, they in trouble. If we stop killing each other in the streets, they in trouble. So what do? A dog in every fight, right? They tried to make us turn on each other by promoting gang life. When did they do it? And how did they get the message to us? Well, it started with entertainment. If you go back, you have always had people that click together for survival purposes in small groups. And the small groups normally didn't prey on each other and they didn't conflict. Normally when they encountered each other, it was a mutual respect between these groups that they end up calling them gangs. When you do your research on the history of the gang, they end up taking you back to the Empire State and starving children in the boroughs. These starving children in the boroughs was joining together to go and steal food from merchants that was on the Manhattan area, where all of the money was being coagulated. They was condensing the money to build what they call Manhattan, which is the Diamond Coast and all that in New York, where all of the money is concentrated at to this day. Wall Street, all that. As they were doing this, they think that we wasn't going to figure it out. You got to be out your mind. And so in the Empire State, King Kong climbs the Empire State Building and they shoots him down and kills him. Okay. I understand your point that you're trying to make. And we ain't falling for it. King Kong ain't gonna fall. Y'all got down when he was asleep. You see. Y'all got down when the King of the Congo was asleep. Now he beating on his chest, swinging from these lampposts, pounding this concrete, and all of these motherfucking baby gorillas is around this motherfucker lining up. This 100 monkey effect taking full flight. You can't stop it. It's an unstoppable move. We know who you are. We know what you did. You can put your motherfucking shit down, pack your bags, and get ready to go, because you're not staying here. I don't know where you're going, but you will not stay here. If you stay here, we will send you somewhere else. Now, dog in every fight. Our Black Keystone Rangers, or our Black Power Stones. Yeah, look at your Power Rangers.
We got signals in all forms of entertainment where we alert each other. Every form of mysticism, good and bad, we got somebody there. I'm going to give you an example. Because I'm a bad boy with this shit. You dig? I'm a bad boy. And I ride rough on these motherfuckers. They don't see it coming. So, everybody think that I don't see what I see. Just because I don't speak on it. Big J dropped some jewels. And I picked every one of them up. Because you can't know what's going on unless you know what's going on. Understand me? Understand? You can't know what's going on unless you know what's going on. So, before I rain this purple shit on their ass, before I give them a thriller, I'm going to continue dropping little pieces in here for the brethren so that they'll know I'm ready for the move. I'm about to journey home. I think I hear somebody calling me in the distance. I'm just east to where she at, and she in the west, or just west of where I'm at. I'm sitting here in the right hand of Mother Earth. The right hand, only one place on earth where you gonna find a right hand glove, a mitten, the motherfucking murder mitten. Now, if the Jewish symbol is a black fist and they don't like black people, why we ain't paying that attention? Let's look at something else. La Cosa Nostra, also known as the Black Hand, was set at Sicily. But the La Cosa Nostra was a different hand. Actually, it was a foot. They was under the heel. They were Sicilians. Well, how did they get to Sicily? When Hannibal made his conquest, they rounded up all of his offspring because he was trying to spread that drop of blood in the process of making his overthrow of Rome. And they took all of the children to try to stop the drop of blood because they didn't want them to ever have a right to ascend and to come back and aid in the struggle for the liberation of planet Earth. So they rounded them all up and they put them on the island of Sicily, the Sequestral. Ain't that right, Uncle Dago? Ain't that how it go? And so when they put them all on the island of Sicily, they figured they had them quarantined sufficiently enough that we wouldn't never be able to communicate. They got to be crazy. So we set something up over there. You call it the Day El Mafioso. We call it La Cosa Nostra, like them blackface Sicilians. I see that leader over there, but that leader ain't a real one. So, I was going to do some poetry, and I was listening to this beautiful poem about how these women be abused by these wicked motherfuckers going upside their head and shit. And it gave me a flashback of a time, in another lifetime, when they wanted to remove a woman from her rightful position. They want to remove her from her rightful position so they can undermine her. Yakub, supplanters, underminers. We know y'all are. All of the imposters has been revealed. The signs of righteousness ain't for no games. You know? So, Crowley had to tell you, do as thou wilt shall be the whole of the law. But he ain't telling it all to you. I ain't gonna get into that. I'm just using that for my brothers to know what moves to make next. Because they already know. But for those watching, y'all might be confused and think I'm babbling. I'm not babbling. Everything I'm dropping is for a purpose. We are past that now. Their reign is up. The contract expired. See, they had to contract us as servitude in a certain way. This is your 14th Amendment. Involuntary servitude is your 14th. Voluntary servitude, or what they call meritorious manumission, meaning of your own accord. You can roam about this land of your own accord, but you have to pay what they call taxes. And as long as you are in your 3/5 state, they can tax you up to 3/5 of your of who you are. Because under the ancient code of kings, you can't tax a god. They think we forgot. We ain't forget. And then look at it and say, in all natives, non-tax. Gotta pay that attention. All natives, non-taxed. But they're gonna make it in a way where they can tax them later. See, that's where they messed up. They're breaking the contract by deception and think we're not gonna figure it out. And the laws say adhesion contracts are non-enforceable. Contracts by using duress is non-enforceable. Contracts by using deception is non-enforceable. So you got these people who are following the contract because they believe that the contract is an enforceable contract. The whole judicial system is predicated upon a false contract. That contract can't be enforced beyond this point. For one, the court contract expired. Look at your seals on your dollar, and you'll know who is behind it. And Enlil is the eagle. And the sons of righteousness is the pyramid. The contract is between the two. Right? Pay attention. I'm not going to go too deep into it right now. I'm going to come back to it later. I'm not going to leave y'all hanging, though, because I got to get y'all other people to give y'all information to clarify what I'm saying. And then now in this one, it should sound like I'm slightly cutting short on information. That's because I'm activating each one of the ones who hold a piece to the puzzle to do their part. Because we all got to do our part, and we all got to work together. Don't send your kids out there to fight for these animals. Don't let them deceive you. I'm going to post a Dane Calloway video on my page. I want y'all to check it out. And a couple more videos I'm going to post. I want y'all to check them out. I ain't going to hold this one real long because we got brothers waiting on me to shut up so they can do their part. And now that I done did this, and the Prime has spoke, and they all know what moves to make next. All those, surf YouTube, see what you can find. Yeah, Juanita, he the truth. He the truth. I like to call him the great Dane Calloway, because I like dogs, One of these days I'm gonna roll up with about 60 dogs. Motherfucker gonna be fucked up. I like dogs. Bow wow wow, yippee yo, yippee yay. And the last person I want to address is this rotten ass king that's been trying to steal all of the money from my sons as combat warriors for many years. He ain't in the game no more because he knew I was here and he got scared and ran. You can pick your hair up like a crown. You owe my son money. Don motherfucking King. Babylon the Great falling and you gonna announce it. Then what you gonna do? You gonna make sure that Mike Tyson is properly compensated for that theft. We ain't forgot about what you did, you rotten ass bastard. I'm coming for your motherfucking hair and I'm gonna shave your crown off. Understand what I'm telling you? I'm gonna throw your ass in the ring with Iron Mike Tyson if he don't get properly compensated for what you did to him. You got Customato bothering me every goddamn day about that shit, Don. How y'all sabotaged his career. How you set him up to take a fall for a rape case. You think I wasn't watching? You rotten bastard. I seen it. I know who you are, you imposter ass motherfucker. Excuse my language, y'all, but it gets me hot under the collar when you take a righteous man and you undermine him as he try to pull himself up from the gutter. Mike Tyson came from the bottom of the bottom. Now here I hear Customato crying to me talking about you got to make him finish. They can't take his career like that. So when I see Mike, I'm going to tell him what Customato told me. He said, put the bookends on their ass and they can't take you out of the books as being the greatest of all time. You was the youngest heavyweight champion in the world. Be the oldest. You was the youngest, not be the oldest. That's what he told me to tell you. He told me to go back to get all of your videos where you was training with him and do everything he taught you all over again from zero. And then go back and get the belts. It ain't going to be easy, Mike. You know it ain't supposed to be. But you got to do your part. Don bitch ass King gonna get off his ass and he gonna promote your shit for free and you gonna take your part of the money in totality like he took all of your part before and passed it out among his family members. I know what the fuck he did. So if he's smart and he don't want to cooperate, he's just gonna have a heart attack and drop dead now out of fear. Because he going in the ring with Iron Mike Tyson with his old ass if he don't get his money straight. I'm letting y'all know that now. This is my watch. This is how it's going to play out. We're not going to send nobody in the streets to get killed. Everybody going to answer for their own indiscretions individually. Don King done it. He going to answer for it. I don't care if he 106. He getting his ass in the ring with Iron Mike Tyson to straighten this shit out, old rotten bastard. He know what he did. You don't never do that to nobody, giving them rape cases and paying them girls to lie on them like that. You set him up. I know you set him up. I seen it when you did it. I was watching. You thought I wasn't watching? Getting with them motherfuckers all about a goddamn dollar. Because he won't take a dive for your fat ass, stinking bastard. So, I got a brother that I'm going to have watching you over your head. He going to be watching your head and he going to help make sure Mike money tight. The same way he do for Mayweather. I ain't gonna say who he is in public because he don't like to be announced like that. He know who he is though, and he waiting on this so he can make you do what the fuck you supposed to do and do right by that man. First thing you need to do is you need to write him a check out the gate for about at least $100 million. That's just to get started because all of the money you took from him plus interest well exceed that. So, he couldn't get down on Ali like that because Ali had backing that he couldn't overcome. So he had to let Ali get his money. But he did it to a lot of fighters. But my prize fighter, my warrior, I wanted these kids to see another way out from the gutter, from these youth homes when y'all locking them up like cattle. I wanted them to see that their life ain't over because they was born at the bottom without nothing. They can get up with a little bit of help from somebody that actually loved them genuinely. They can get back up to their feet. Rahubat. And so you want to sabotage his career for some money. That's what the problem is. All y'all want some money. All you entitled, greedy, lazy, slothful motherfuckers think that y'all entitled to what somebody else hard working labor earned. That entitlement shit is over. If you don't earn it, you don't take it from nobody. What we do around here is we earn what we get. So, before I go get my sons out of there, I want y'all to remember, do as thou wilt should be the whole of the law, but the will must be under the governance of the love. That's will under love. So when you marry those two, divine masculine and divine feminine, you have heaven on earth for the self. And so I just wanted to tell the brothers who was up next to stand up and let everybody know that I see clearly. I'm going to give y'all an example. Son of the Jackal, born June 6, 1966, on one of my alternate Facebook pages. I did a whole thing on who he was. So y'all wonder why he didn't have a birth certificate, and then when they produced one, it was fabricated. That's because before you get to see, you know what? I'm going to post a picture. Look at the picture and examine it. You're going to see two brothers standing side by side. One with a dog head, one with the hawk head. And then it'll help make a little bit more sense. Make a little bit more sense. And from there, we on this march to victory. And we can't be stopped. And we not going to fall for the shenanigans. They not finna send us out here with no trumped up race war initiated by the policy enforcers. If one motherfucker shoot one motherfucker, then one motherfucker gets shot back. That's it. That's the way it go. And we don't send whole groups of people to die for nothing. For money. For greed. The sustenance of this planet should pay for your necessities. Water, lights, gas, electric. You ain't supposed to have them. Not supposed to be bills. That shit here. Electricity. Nikola Tesla tried to give it away free. What'd they do? He got smothered by the black hand. They beat him to death for giving away free electricity. Water free. So what do they got to do? They poison the water so they got to filter it out and clean it so you can drink it. That way you can't get free water. We see it. We see it. The gas. It was already there. They had the right to mine it and to earn something for that process. But they don't have the right to monopolize any of it because it was already here. Mother Earth gave us these things for our own sustenance to take care and maintain us. She didn't give it to us to have 10 people rich while 10 billion be suffering. That's not fair. That's not equitable. And justice don't work that way. Might don't work that way. Perfect balance don't work that way. So, we finna move in unison on a steady climb to the top. Tell everybody that you know, don't participate in the ignorance, the folly, and the foolishness. Don't fall for the divide and conquer. Show each other that brotherly love. Remember, the capital of this land was never Washington, D.C. The capital of this land was Philadelphia. And when the great melting pot allowed these people to come over here to get their drop of blood so that they could have right like everybody else, to entertain divine wisdom and divine love within the self without self-destructing like Stephen Hawking, who was an example for y'all, a frame of reference. He had to have that. See, they was exploiting his psychology, his mindset. And this is what he was taught. This is why he always talked about he was an atheist. He wasn't an atheist because at the end when they started opening up CERN, you watch what he said, he panicked because he knew what was coming. He wasn't no fool. But when they started firing like that, that left brain started firing like that, it short-circuited the right side in some cases. But in his case, it caused the whole brain to seize up. And because if he gets some love energy, he can ascend. If he gets some of that love energy in there, he can ascend. And that's what they didn't want. So he was self-sacrificing to make sure that we know what's what. So I'm going to cut this one short. I'm going to come back on probably later on today, give y'all some more information. I want to go visit a couple of my friends. So I'm going to make some moves from here, and I'm out. Keep your head up. Stay united. Stay fearless and strong. We are one nation. Keep it moving.
Got some land, he could use it for free. Told Kanye that. What's my man name? Young Thug?
Thug, right, yeah. Thug, yeah.
Right? Then you got somebody put on a building in Florida say yay is right.
Somebody put it on the building.
It was on the building, dog. You know the ticker at the top of the building? It was on the ticker at the top of the building, and it was saying yay is right.
Wow. Wow. Who would have ever thought? I mean, I don't know. I do kind of identify with, now I don't identify with him, but I see some of the I understand Ye. I'll put it like that. I understand his thought process. Just for being like a black sheep, thinking differently. I wouldn't even call myself a black sheep, just thinking differently my whole life. So it's like, I don't want to call him the Messiah, but he's really like leading the rush, almost, in a sense.
And Ye, as I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, motherfucker.
Right. So does that piggyback on the whole Trump thing, the trumpets, the final trumpets singing off, Trump, Pence, you know what I'm saying? That was one little connection I had made a while back. Like Trump and Pence was like the final ringing to let us know that this was the end of their little reign. And then, so you connected that to that, and then Ye being connected to Trump as tightly as he was, it's just like putting the pieces of the puzzle together for me. It's just crazy.
So for the women that want to do rituals, they should be calling back the sweet waters of Oshun. That's the love energy. In order for the love energy to come back, all that dirty dirt shit got to get cleaned up. The last major conjure to close is the Haitian conjure, and it's in the process.
Mm. We acquaint ourselves with. Okay, let's see. Let's see what she's talking about.
That's what we were saying earlier about sinking back to the earth, walking barefoot and grounding. Yeah.
Okay. Where's where the mention how Europe came to find Americas for the yay. What are some of its original uses using the plant cocaine is from? Okay, for the yay. Oh, yayo. Okay. What are some of its original uses using the plant cocaine is from?
They used to use it for pain reliever. They used to use it. They used to make tea out of the leaves. They never used to use the concentrate. Cocaine is a concentrate.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So it had an effect like caffeine, except stronger.
That's a good question, Reynolds. Throw that in the question box for me so I can pin it. But he said, "Are the black nobility the dirty morals?" Actually, I just mentioned it.
100%.
100%. Okay. So, is it for me? It feels like it's really time. Like even with Doug telling Ye, like, I got 100 acres of land that you can use. So it is time for us to try that rebuild, almost like another Black Wall Street, or just are we getting back to nature with this one?
Listen, the Black Wall Street was everywhere. It wasn't just Tulsa, Oklahoma. We had communities that we set up after we left the Gullah Wars. When we was going back into the land, they had declared the land abandoned under the salvage rights so they can use squatters' rights to colonize. So when we was going back, we had everywhere we went, we generate the source of wealth on Earth. Gold, if we wasn't on Earth, gold wouldn't be here. Platinum wouldn't be here. As the side effects of very specific star seeds walking the Earth. The side effect is the Earth produces in its anatomy chemical signature identifying the strain of being on the Earth.
Because, yeah, I mean, it makes sense because Earth is just a larger expression of us. So, I mean, we got all those chemicals and minerals in our body.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, here's a good one. Can you expound on the matriarchal call and the shift back into a matriarchal societal structure in the higher timeline?
So the call of the matriarch is spiritual. If you see now, there's the women is finding where they comfortable. They move in locations to going back to places they used to live in past lives where when the energy shifts, they automatically know where they need to be. And they start making arrangements to be in that location. They answering the call. All of the mothers is telepathically linked, but they don't know it yet.
But let me see. And when do you feel like they'll know it? What will it take? Is just an awakening? Is it ritual, or is it?
It's a subtle becoming aware.
Okay.
Right. The only reason I figured this stuff out is watching patterns. As I watch the patterns, I can't help but notice it. They took it on themselves to write these contracts and laws. That's why they use $5 Indians to sign the contract, because we wasn't signing that shit. They brought them over here to specifically say they Indians and declare them chiefs by presidential order so they can sign a treaty. We ain't signing no treaties with them motherfuckers.
It's funny, like looking back on, I was just watching if you haven't checked out, it's UB News TV. He does great work and research and talks about the lodges. And the other day he did he talks about the Boule, but the other day he did one on Noble Drew Ali and just kind of breaking down his beginnings, where he really came from, his pilgrimages to Mecca, and how they basically coined him, or not coined him, but donned him a prophet. And then he came back over here and essentially convinced all these people, these natives that were here in America, that they were from Morocco, or had them playing like they were from Morocco when they would get in trouble. So it's very informative, like just seeing the other side of what you've read in books, just going a little deeper. But yeah, Noble Drew, I know you. I've heard you speak on them, and from what I understand, you've always spoke highly of them. But is there other side? Was there a sinister side or reason behind him starting what he started here in America with the Moorish?
What he started is not what you see.
Okay.
It changed.
Okay.
He had set the Moorish Science Temple up in the beginning to be able to send them grand sheiks to get our people out of their system, because they understood the relationship with the contracts that had nothing to do with us. But one of the clerks went behind his back and signed contracts with the same motherfuckers we was trying to get away from. And the reason you know this is because on the back of your nationality card, it say clear as day, the holder of this card is a U.S. citizen. How you gonna be a free Moorish national and a U.S. citizen? It's not possible. It's a blatant contradiction in your face.
Right. That's real. Okay, so here's a piggyback on that topic. Hey, Shane says, so should we be correct in status, declaring ourselves indigenous as Aboriginal, or just wait?
At this point, you can just wait it out. If you know who the fuck you is, you can just wait it out. Disassociate from the system so that motherfucker could go and finish collapsing.
Right. So, would you recommend something as simple as like deregistering yourself? Like just killing the contracts that you have out there, even though their contract ended. A lot of people
You abandon the contract for fraud.
Just abandon it.
You abandon the contract because if you know there's a fraud there and you still trying to meet the terms of the contract, you party to the fraud, which incriminates you in the court of law. If anybody ever called them on that fraud in the court of law, all of the people who willingly participated in the fraud, once they became aware that the fraud existed, is just as guilty as the ones that started the fraud.
Because if you still, yep. That's real. Good question, though. Yeah, I would say you need to tap in more, but we'll see what Rod got to say.
That's the essential symptoms he's describing. I can't see the whole thing.
It says, is there a meaning behind my body being restless, or more so me not being asleep? It's been happening since a young age.
It could be nutritional deficiency, but if your spiritual self is vibrating too high, you won't be able to sleep. You was a cat nap.
So he's got to integrate that.
Right. So he had to train himself. Like what I did when I was locked up, every night before they lock us down, I drink a big ass cup of water before I go to bed. Right? Because the water hydrates the body and is soothing to the central nervous system. Right? And then I lay down and within no time I'm out. So then I begin to keep doing it till I train myself. When I ain't tired, when I need to get some sleep and I ain't tired, I can still go drink a big cup of water and go straight to sleep. I can do it now. That's how, instead of letting somebody else condition you, learn how to condition yourself.
That's real. And I know for me, if you just like, well, he said he can't get no sleep, but I know when I wake up in the middle of the night at a certain time, I normally just sit down and I'll try to sit down and meditate. That normally means I'm supposed to be getting a message, especially if it's in like the heat of the middle of the night. And then I'll be peeing all night.
But that's why I did it. Another reason why I done it too, because I needed to train myself to hold my pee all night.
Oh, dang. I ain't seen this. Probably because I never registered to vote. She said, why did Mellon notice it stating years we voted or not?
Look, all of those is adhesion contracts. You fill that shit out, you making an agreement with them to participate.
And the electoral college really decide that. It's basically tacit agreement to follow whatever laws or whatever happens during that current regime. Going along with the get along.
Dreaming about Papa Leg, but he bringing you a message. You need to figure out what it is.
Okay, there we go. Was Enlil and Inky here before us, or we came from them?
The Earthborn was already people here when the Anunnaki came, right? And when they came, they integrated with the people that was already here and formed a hybrid, an Anunnaki human hybrid. That's what we are in modern times, right? And they interacted with us on several different occasions. These is what they call in the theory of evolution the missing links. But it's really not the theory of evolution, right? It's really the intervention in the genome by the alien beings, and they manipulated the genome to cause us to forget, to shorten our lifespan, and to make us controllable to do their work as Lulu Amun, as primitive workers. And then some of the ones that was in the Anunnaki royal house that wasn't working in the mines didn't agree with that shit.
And that's when they created them other people. Okay, bad. And I'm gonna post a question, bro. I don't see it. Oh, there it is. Oh yeah, here you go. It kind of went over this earlier a little bit.
Yeah, Jacob is Yakub. The last name Jacob's just supposed to be Hebrew. Jacob is the Hebrew name. It means supplanter, underminer. When they gave us these names, when they came over here, they was tagging our bloodlines. Some of them wasn't our names.
Okay, I'll save that one. Because the Yakub story is fascinating. But
I did a series on Young Elder Show showing y'all exactly what the Yakub story was.
Okay.
With references.
All right, I have to tap that in. You said with Young Elder?
Yeah, it's like a 3 or 4 part series.
Okay, but that's on his Instagram?
YouTube.
Okay. If your family said they're Cherokee, how do you really find out that you're from the land? Or if, I don't know where that question just went. It just disappeared on its own. Or if they're of the invaders. I think she might have dipped out. So it took her question. So I'll just put that back. I had a dream about him. Oh, okay. She said she had a dream about you. Can you explain what you're telling her or what they're telling me to tell him or tell me? Like, what's the communication? She had a dream about you.
You don't translate dreams like that. That's enough information. I actually got to hear the dream circumstances, the surroundings. Then I got to know. A bunch of questions go with that.
Yeah, colors, all of that. The black Masons. Maybe it don't matter, but I'll put it up there.
It depends. Okay, so all of the lodges has been infiltrated. So you have to judge them by an individual that you know. You can't judge the whole lodge because you got good motherfuckers in the lodge and you got dirty motherfuckers in the lodge. And all of them been infiltrated and compromised.
Every single lodge. Kind of like the NOI back then with Malcolm X. It's a lot of dream questions. You must not have did a dream live in a minute.
The Liberia project took a lot of us over to Africa, to Liberia, and many of us ended up in Ghana. Most of us don't know that. So a lot of us was under believing that slave narrative when the first Back to Africa movement, that's called the Liberia movement, right? It was a lot of us that went to Ghana as well. Not just Ghana, the whole Gold Coast, Cote d'Ivory, and Western South Africa as well. That's part of your Pan-African studies. That's why Garvey was stressing it so much.
You're studying the Pan-Africanism.
Right, because
so
the Africans going to tell you the same thing I'm telling you. We ain't from over there. We was already here.
Mm-hmm.
And we don't make that, as Garvey called it, that confraternity connection. Then we going to be stuck with the narrative the invaders gave us, with no way to disprove it, which is going to make us forfeit the right to our own shit. But when we go study the Pan-Africanism and the Africans is telling us don't believe that bullshit, they look like us, but they not us. The Africans say the same thing we say. The Arabs say the same thing we say. They look like us, but they ain't us. All skin folk ain't kinfolk. Why is that saying in all of these places? Because all of these places was invaded by the Etruscans, who became known as the conquistadors, who became known as the blackamoors. So the challenges was the George Washington challenge in the Masonic Lodge was the challenge versus the fezzes versus the feathers, master versus master. Is it one of y'all chiefs can rise up and know what side of the water you from? Will you know that you didn't come over here with a fez on? You was already here with a head full of feathers. Well, I ain't come over here with no fez on. Before it was ever a fez here, I had my feathers. So when I know that the lodges is infiltrated, I got to raise myself. I can't go in their lodges if they infiltrate it, because they're going to immediately know who I am. And then I got 3 ruffians again. Jabbaline, and Jabbalo. Busting me upside my head and shit. I ain't finna be going through that. I'll fuck one of them niggas up.
So does that go into like discernment, or like your soul already knowing like who you belong to or what side you belong to, or is it true that people are easily manipulated into that doctrine, or just like thinking that they're Moorish but they're really not?
Look, most people didn't start hearing about that shit till the 90s. That's around now. And most of the people that start hearing about it got it out of prison. And all of these grandiose claims to be in a superior jurisdiction to the government, all the time they having you becoming inferior to the government. They slave catching and don't even know it. The presumption of knowledge is worse than motherfucking no knowledge at all. Because you definitely gonna be misleading the motherfucker. So the good Moors came in with feathers to accept the challenge, and we had to win affairs. We was getting our ass kicked. They was telling us that shit. We was believing the shit out that shit.
How was it so effective to where they made us forget where we came from so effectively? How did they do it so effectively to where even though the amnesia that comes with like our great grandparents and grandparents telling us who we are, and then we just wiping it off or wiping it away, saying
the appearance of being official. It's true because I got it wrote down here on this piece of paper I just wrote. Right? It's true because it's written right here on this piece of paper I just wrote. That's never been verification of truth for us. The truth resonated on the frequency of the heart. If it don't sync with the heart's energy, then it's automatically false. The greatest expression of love is to tell the truth regardless of the consequences.
That's where that saying comes. You can't manipulate a true man.
No.
You're right. Even with seduction, like a woman can't even tempt a true man because he's based off of what is right and what feels right, and he already knows what's right and wrong. He's already made that determination a while ago.
Yeah.
So, like, for me, when I came across the information more, like when I first started getting into learning the rights, the system and learning your rights, that was one of the first things that I came across was the Moorish doctrine and everything that came along with that. But it just never resonated with me for some reason. I had a few people around me like, oh yeah, I'm going to change my name to Bay this, L that. And I was just like, I don't know about that, bro. That's just, I
knew when I first seen Noble Drew Ali, I didn't remember him like that. I recognized the face. I did not remember the head wrap. I do remember seeing him with plumes of feathers. I don't never remember seeing him with a turban on in past lives.
So you think they hijacked it?
He was part of the war. He had to go into their system, into the Scottish Rite. He went and sat with more Zionist Jews in New Jersey to find out what they were doing. We didn't know what they were doing to us. So then when he said he put all of their secrets in the public domain, it made it where we can read, but Chiefs now can read this shit.
To find out exactly what's going on behind the curtain.
Yep. So that's why